Hey y'all, how you doing today? So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at Disgaea RPG characters, the upcoming ones that are coming soon, coming to new banners, and we're going to gauge their effectiveness and see how useful they are. And I'm going to preface that with two things. First thing is, homeboy, right here, you won the double Santa Laharl account. So I've been trying to contact you, dude. I don't know how to get a hold of you. You gotta check the links in the description, join the Discord, and then I can PM you there. But yeah, you won the account. So congratulations. Yeah, you won the account. Yeah, that's so cool. Okay. Second thing is, y'all have been really hitting me with these unique upcoming character videos with tier lists, saying like, oh man, this tier list shows all the unique upcoming guys that people should be building, that you should save your gems for these guys. I have not watched them yet, but hear me out, okay? Just very quickly. I played Summoner's War whenever everyone said Tiana sucked. I played Skylanders whenever everybody said Barbara sucked. I played Heroes War whenever everybody said Robert sucked. I played World of Warcraft Classic when everyone said Warriors suck, dude. All the time people just start saying stuff and just like they're really trying to pull for them views on them clickbait. Oh my god, tier list. And most of the time, dude, if I could just like go through the characters myself, I can figure it out myself. So I don't want to like follow some dude's tier list. I'm not saying they're all wrong, dude. Some of them might be fine, but you know, for all I know, it could be telling me to build this Moki Prinny. I build the Moki Prinny because someone told me to, and then it turns out, you know, in a few years it sucks. Or, you know, someone could be saying this person sucks. Awaken Rosalind, and then, you know, a year from now she's top tier. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through all of the unique upcoming soon 4 stars and breaking them down a step at a time, and I will tell you what I think about them. Okay, we're also going to use, hold up, because we're going to use a base to compare, right? Laharl is a pretty good base. He has decent stats, like, all around, so we will be using him as a comparison just to, like, compare with these other units, right? So, alright. Now, starting off is Pleinair. So with Pleinair right off the bat, we're going to see she has a little bit less HP than Laharl. Okay, yeah, that's probably to be expected. She has less attack, she has less defense, she has less intellect, she has less resistance, but she has way more speed. That speed is super duper fast. So every single one of her stats is pretty underwhelming except for speed. 62 is a humongous starting speed, so that's a good start. Resistances, we're seeing 0 all across the board. You know, that's not good, but it's not bad because, you know, pretty much everything's just going to be normal damage to you, but you're not susceptible to anything. It's not like if you bring her versus a fire dude that he's just going to one-shot you. So, you know, not bad, not good. She's a gun character. All right, this is what we're looking at. For her abilities, all stats except speed 10%. All members heal by 6% of max HP whenever a turn begins. That's pretty solid. So just an AoE heal at turn start. All members SP cost minus 5%. That's pretty solid. Your entire team having minus SP cost, that's pretty sick. And it looks like the last one is member with the lowest action gauge plus 200 when a turn begins. So that's pretty cool. She's like a support, right? She exactly... these abilities are going to help boost your teammates and make them all around more effective. So she's probably not a carry herself. We see we have a 15 SP single target attack with E plus damage, you know, whatever. A massive zombie rabbit outbreak. That's a 45 cost at B plus. Not the best, not the worst. And then we have an AoE at 85 cost, dude. How often do you use those 90 costs and 85 costs? Like, that's pretty intense. And it's only a C plus. I'm not sure about that one. If you build her up for magic spells, we got poison, single target poison, single target ice, single target paralysis, single target speed boost, and then an AoE mega ice. That's only 35, but it's also ice, and if they're ice resistant, that could be a problem. So I'm not really feeling her right now because this is all mostly just single target supports with AoE support abilities. She might be a good one just to have in the back burner or just like to be chilling in your party, mostly just for her bonus effects that she'll supply for your team. All right, so that one, we're going to save the ones that are a little bit, you know, the ones that really stick out. So next, let's look at the Moki Prinny. And I don't want this to take forever, so we're just going to be using pretty much a baseline that we just used for her and for Laharl to check everyone else. That HP is freaking insane, dude. That is so much HP. The defense, though, is pretty significantly lower, so the HP is really only more effective versus magic attacks because his magic resistance is, you know, the on par with Laharl's or with just an average, you know, melee unit's intellect. So if you, that's a lot of HP though. So yeah, that's a big one. 48 speed, pretty slow. Weak against fire, that could be annoying. Alright, so monsters deal damage to humanoids, 12% situational. Self-heals by 12% when a turn begins. Now that's pretty cool. 12% is a pretty big heal on turn begin. Damage dealt to humanoids, 45%. All stats except speed times number of monster parties times 5%. Okay, so that's super duper situational. Basically, you have to be fighting all humanoids, having all monsters on your team to take full effect of this character. Single target 15 cost, AoE 35 cost, but at F+, that's not really that good. And then single target S, no matter, it bestows forget. So that's something. I mean, it's better than nothing. Single target wind, okay. Intellect decrease might be good on intellect heavy bosses. Area of effect 35 cost isn't really good, no matter like what you got going on for it. If we're looking at a 35 cost, that's like you have to wait a whole turn to even get it off anyways. So that's not that great. Greatly decreases intellect of the target by 55%. So that could very much help you on intellect heavy bosses. That could be a big one if we're ever fighting an intellect heavy boss. And area of effect 45 cost with a power of E. Not great. So all in all, he would be like the magic boss. He would be the magic boss support. He would help you defeat end-game magic bosses. But that's not really, you know, it's whatever. A tired Rosalind. Now let's check her out. The HP is, it's okay. You know, she's got good attack. She's got pretty good defense. Intellect is higher than normal. Resistance, you know, the resistance is higher than normal. So she seems like a hybrid. Like she can do either magic or physical. So that's pretty cool. You can decide. Oh, resistances. Big one right here. 25 resistance to fire, ice, and wind. That's pretty good. She looks like she's going to be a ranger character. Alright, all members action gauge plus 100 when a wave starts. That is fucking huge, dude. That's right off the bat, she's good. Right, that's it. That's all you need and that's good. 100 action gauge on wave start. Every single wave. So that's, golly, that's basically providing your entire team with a big portion of their action bar before speed is even calculated so that you can make sure that you get turn 1. Very huge, very big. This one, all members AoE damage dealt plus 15%. Dude, that's pretty good. Member with the highest action gauge attack and end plus 30% at turn end. Okay, so that's all right. You know, all members experience gain plus 7%. This is going to be a huge one. This is a very, very good one. So if you were able to pull her, automatically should be going on your team. For abilities, we have single target, 15 cost, 45. Restore HP and remove status ailment single. Okay, so it's a cleanse and a small heal on a single target for 45 cost. It's not the great. 60 cost AoE. We have an 85 cost AoE. That's pretty rough. For magic, let's see how she rolls with magic. Single target, 15 cost. 5 cost decrease int by 35%. Okay. AoE 35 cost. It's there. 15 cost single target, 15 cost single target, int minus 55%. Forget about the printing. The printing is gone. This is our support. If you need a support, this is the support. And then an AoE 45 cost fire. So, all in all, this is going to be god tier no matter what, because the attack bar thing. Being able to boost an ally's attack bar in every single game you can think of, it's like literally the meta. Summoners War Bernard attack boost is meta. Heroes War Nima attack boost is meta. Attack boost is just meta, dude. That's all there is to it. If you get first turn, you essentially have a full set of turns on your enemy. Very, very good. We're keeping her up. We're not even going to close her tab. That's amazing. Fubuki. You know what? We're going to go through the first row, and then we'll be looking at the second and third row in another video, okay? Because I'm seeing now I'm spending a little bit of extra time on everybody, and I don't want to gloss over anybody. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, and then I end up missing something in the future. And I don't want an hour-long video. So what we're going to do, we'll do the first row this video, right? Sometime in the future, we'll do the second row, then we'll do the third row, and eventually we'll move on to all these guys. And we could even do this in a stream at some point. But for now, let's just do the first row, and I won't be in your hair for too much longer. So Fubuki, let's check him out. Okay, so 330, 100, 75, 75, 90. They're okay. You know, nothing really standing out on stats. The speed is decent. It's not great, but it's decent. He's weak to fire automatically, so that could be rough. Let's see what we got. Axe equipping members stats. That's very situational. Axe equipping members, very situational. All members water damage dealt plus 15%. The thing is, like, even though it is all members that are dealing water damage, you really want your entire team to be focused on dealing water damage. That's going to take a lot of effort to build a full water damage team, and we're not really at that point. This might be like one of the most late game buffs that you could consider. Enemy with the lowest action gauge, speed minus 10% when a turn begins. So that's cool. Like, you take a slow enemy and you make them even slower. So that's something. I mean, it's a passive. It's a passive, so that's cool. 20 cost area of effects. That's good. It goes up to F, but it is ice, so situational. Single target C+, 35 cost, 65 cost single target that decreases attack by 10%. I don't know. All right, moving on to the magic one. Single target E+, ice. Single target decrease resistance of the target by 35%. So if you had some magic dealers on your team, so basically he increases frost damage that your team is doing, or blizzard damage that your team is doing, water damage, whatever, dude, blue. I'm going to call it blue. He increases blue damage that your team is doing, and decreases the blue resistance that the enemy has. So if you're fighting a fire boss or a fire enemy and you brought this dude, then you're going to trash on him. But it's not going to be a fire enemy every single time. Oh my god, going down already. I just saw this real quick. Minus 55%. So yeah, same thing. Like, that's going, you're going to absolutely freaking wreck a fire dude. This is also good for any element. You know, this decreases resistance of anybody, but he's so water blue focused that we would probably be blue focused. AoE 35 cost and then an AoE 45 cost. Okay, lots of AoEs, but I mean, he doesn't really have anything to increase SP of himself. You would probably have to pair him with, just real quick, Yukimaru, because she has a passive that increases the SP of sword and axe equipping members when a turn begins. Since he is an axe member, I feel like they go hand in hand. Moving on. Fuka. What do we got about Fuka? We got decent HP, super good attack, super duper good attack. That attack is wild, dude. That's insane. So she's a very heavy physical, super weak against water. How we just saw that dude. She does not do good resistance against water, so if you brought the water dude... First of all, let me figure out what this freaking element is called. All members damage dealt increase. Wow. So on top of that, axe members plus an additional 18%. That's situational, but that could... Does that stack? If that stacks, that's nuts. Self single target damage plus 60%, dude. So if you're fighting a, like a... Jesus. Again, a lot of boss killers. She's a boss killer. She seems to be fire heavy, so doing a lot of fire damage, and she also defense breaks. All of these attacks seem to decrease the defense of the enemy to make her do even more damage. So you will probably see numbers higher than you could ever see with this unit with the right setup. Right here, she greatly increases the attack by 55%. Humongous attack boost. Yeah, so she is super duper nuke, dude. She's probably going to reach some of the highest numbers that we could see in this game. Very interesting. Actually, let's leave her up. Let's leave her up because that damage could possibly be pretty nutty with the right setup. Let's look at Axel. It's like decent HP. He's got, you know, better resistance, better int. He seems to be a hybrid. Weak against fire, so Fuka is going to be absolutely trashing him. Self, all damage dealt plus 40%. Okay. And here we have some more situational buffs, depending on if you have fist equipping members or females in your party. That's asking a lot to be asking for that, but 15 cost lesser heal to self, okay. 45 cost single target, 85 cost AoE. Here we have a 15 cost single target, 5 cost defense break. So 15 cost defense break down here is better. Defense break is really important. It's basically going to be making you deal a lot more damage. So these are good debuffs to have. The number one buff debuffs in all of these games is always pretty much going to be attack buff for your team, defense break for the enemy, and then a speed buff for you or a speed break for the enemy. That like rolls the meta of every single game. Okay, then we just have our average, you know, 35, 45 cost area of effects. And yeah, so he seems to be quite supporty himself. Just weak to fire, so. All right, who we got here? Curtis, dude. All right, Curtis, let's take a look at it. Pretty decent in everything. His int seems to be relatively high. His speed is super average. Weak 2, please God, someone tell me what this element is called. Ice. Okay, it's ice. I figured it out. It's ice. I figured it would have been ice. It's ice on like every game, but I've just been rolling with whatever color blue may have been. Who are we looking at? Curtis. Okay. Monster physical equipping members, all stats. Jeez Louise, the requirement. Self-attack and resistance plus 30%. So he's like a mage counter mage. All members defense plus 15%. That's pretty good. And then self-speed 19% whenever battle begins. Those are all pretty good except for the main one. Like these are all pretty good. Okay, we have single target 15 cost, but it's also a defense break. We also have an area of effect attack that is elementless and a defense break, but it is a 45 cost. So you would have to wait a turn to get that off, and you would also have to have setup to make that work. But it's something. I mean, it's there. Resistance minus 12%. Fire damage, and then of course the defense break and fire damage. So somewhat underwhelming. Who do we got? Zeroken. Zeroken? He looks pretty cool. Alright. Whoa. Base average on like everything. Like slightly below average on everything. That's speed though. You see the speed? Ridiculous speed. The speed is ridiculous. We have a weakness to ice, so that could be a problem. Fist equipped members, speed plus 6%. Member with the highest action gauge, attack plus 40% when a turn ends. Whenever a turn ends. So that's pretty cool. You know, I can see that being helpful. But look at this. All members action gauge plus 50 when a turn ends, dude. What, dude? That's pretty good, dude. Okay. So yeah, that's sticking out right off the bat. That's instantaneously going to make him stay up here. Very good. Single target wind, area of effect fire. So we have broken into the 2 element range. We also have an AoE self buff to increase speed by 15%. Problem is it is a cast, and you have to build up a lot of SP for that. So I don't think that might be worth it. Oh, no. We have an area of effect speed buff, dude. What? An area of effect speed buff, dude. Oh my God. Combining him with Rosalind. Dude, you would be getting so many turns. Holy cow, that's so good. Okay, single target wind, single target attack buff, single target 55% attack buff, and then we have the AoE, you know, pretty much the average AoEs we've been seeing this whole time. Wowza. Wowza. That's a good unit right there. Stay on my screen, buddy. So hold on, we also forgot to look at Majin Etna. We'll look at her last because I didn't realize she was up there. Who are you? Artina. Artina. Okay, Tina. Very high resistance. Super high resistance. Magic damage is not going to be too effective against her. She also has all resistances. So she is going to be a tough kill whenever it comes to dealing magic damage to her. That's pretty interesting. Okay, gun members, blah, blah, blah. We know how that goes. HL gain plus 10%. This is the exact same thing that... Alright, so we have a 3-star with that exact same effect. So instantaneously, she becomes an upgrade from... You're not Hog Miser, you're Hog Miser. She becomes an instantaneous, God, upgrade from Hog Miser, who also has HL gain plus 10%. So that's cool that she has that as well. You could get a Nat 4 on your team with that, you know, extra added effect. All members elemental damage taken minus 15%. So that's pretty good right off the bat. Single 15 cost HL robbery. So this also steals HL, kind of like the thief does. That's cool. Resistance. This is an area of effect resistance plus 30%. So we're looking at how Zeroken did an area of effect speed buff. She has an area of effect resistance buff. So if the enemy is using a lot of elements, a lot of like Desco, if they're using a lot of elemental AoEs, this is going to be a very good bonus to have on your team. Single target lesser healing, single target attack buff. What is this one? 25 cost, remove status ailment on the target and remove status ailment. Okay, so single target cleanse, and this one is an area of effect heal for 45. Super duper good support right here. She is a god tier support right there. That's amazing. So yes, she's going to be another big one to pull for. Next, we're at Rainor, closing in on our last 3, and then we'll of course go for that one that was up there too. He looks, she looks super cool. Super low attack, so going to be very intellect based unit. Weak to fire. So fire, this Fuka is going to be killing her in one hit. Yeah, that's going to be happening. Where'd she go? All right, what do we have? All stats except speed, self, AoE damage, monster units, SP cost decrease, monster members, AoE damage dealt. Situational that you have to have all monsters on your team. That's a little rough. I'm not liking these abilities either, except 20 cost area of effect that you have to be nether enhanced 3 times to unlock, and it has an ice element. That's not that good. Single target decrease resistance, single target decrease attack. Greatly decrease resistance, greatly decrease attack. So the kit could be good for like a support, like a debuff support, but unfortunately being so frost heavy, I feel like that's not going to be an ideal unit to pull for. Let's look at Tyrant Valvatorez. We all know that I like Valvatorez already. Insane attack, really good int, really good resistant. The HP, dude, I didn't even notice the HP. The HP is nuts, the speed is decent, all these stats are decent. Looking at ice resistance with no other attributes really being too much of a problem. Right here, spear equipped enemies, whatever. Self healed by 80% if an enemy is down when a turn ends. So if you've killed an enemy, he's like healing every single turn after that. Self, whenever you have equipped a spear, your SP cost is decreased by 15%. That's not too bad. Self, attack by 40% whenever an enemy is down. So the thing about this, I don't know, like, in terms of PvP, okay, I don't know if there's going to be a more intense PvP game on the scene coming in the future. But a big thing about PvP is turn 1 in every single game. Getting turn 1 is very big in both PvP and PvE. So this is a setup unit to where an enemy must already be downed for you to take advantage of these attacks. So if we are mostly AoE focused right now, and then of course with a single target boss, there's not going to be downed enemies anyways. So these are super duper situational. The stats are insane, but this is also situational. Area of effect 20 cost, that's good. 55 cost medium healing, and then whoa, 85 cost area of affected action gauge minus 250. That could be really good. It does have star element, but that could be a game changer. It could potentially save you. Okay, single 15, and then of course we have the ally 55% attack buff. That's fine, and then just your basic wind AoEs. So all in all, really good stats, but just usefulness has yet to be desired, you know? It's going to be rough to find a situation to make him shine at his maximum potential. Let's go ahead and look at Pure Flonne. Okay, where you at? Right here. Okay. Wow, resistance and int is very high, so she... Oh! Okay, so resistance and int is very high, plus all attributes are pretty high. Also, whenever you're looking at these attributes, the defense, if the defense is super low, that means that, you know, you do have a weakness there. So just because you have like all resistances doesn't mean you're immune to everything, because you also got to compare it to defense being actually decent as well. Staff, okay, people have to have a staff to take advantage of that. Self, deals resistance-oriented normal attacks. So her scaling is based off her resistance for normal attacks, and her resistance is nuts. That's super cool. Okay, and then all members healed by 25% from a passive. Jeez! From an evility, is what I meant. Dang, so that's pretty interesting indeed. Single target 15 cost, area of effect 85 cost, area of effect 35 cost, a little bit of an attack break. That's something. So we got single target healing, we got single target resistance down. We have area of effect lesser healing at 35 cost. So every other turn, for the most part, if you of course initially start with your SP, then you will be able to get this off a few times. We have removing status ailments from an ally, and then we also have a party lesser healing for 45 cost. So that could come in a pinch. Very, very cool. I'm going to leave her up just because I think that's the most interesting kit I've seen so far in this game. And let's look at Majin Etna, because apparently she is coming soon. Good HP, okay attack, good defense, good int, okay resistance. We are weak to fire with this version of Etna. We have all stats except HP and speed. Except HP and speed, but I think it's trying to make up for it by being 22%. Female enemies. Wow. Okay, so waifu lovers beware. She's going to take you out with that. Self initial SP plus 25 whenever battle begins. So that's pretty good because you could get off one of these higher cost AoEs turn 1. Spear equipping member speed plus 12 when battle begins, etc., blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have an area of effect speed buff. Okay, 20 cost. That's pretty good. Area of effect sexy beam that you could use turn 1 because she, of course, has the SP bonus ability. We have a 60 cost. Could be a little rough. We have a 65 cost S right here. That's totally attainable. By having your abilities set up, that could absolutely be a possibility that you could use this very early on, and it would be helping you a lot. Single target star, ally 35% speed buff, ally 55% speed buff. That's big, dude. That's really big. So if you use this on one of the dudes that is increasing everyone's, who was it? Artina? No, it wasn't. Now imagine if you use like a speed buff on someone like this guy who gets action gauge whenever a turn ends and stuff like that. There's some intense speed combos we're coming out with these new characters. Area of effect 35 cost star element, so that's something. And yeah, so area of effect 45 cost E. That's pretty good too. All in all, not bad, you know? The speed buff is really selling her for me. Other than that, it's a little bit underwhelming. But yeah, these are the units. I'll put her far to the right, you know? So these are the units that I would be recommending for you to pull whenever they come out for new banners, right? Pure Flonne, Artina, Zeroken, a Tired Rosalind, Fuka, and Majin Etna. Other units are probably worth it to pull too. I just feel like these have the most usefulness out of all of the ones that we looked at. We'll look at the other ones in the future. I don't want to go through like 100 dudes right now. We'll even look at the 3 stars later. But yeah, so cool. Definitely going to be saving for like Zeroken and the Tired Rosalind. Definitely. I'm not putting them in a tier because, like, for tier lists, for those of y'all that don't know how I do them, I definitely want to see a lot of gameplay from every single unit before I just slap on a tier list. I want to see, like, multiple instances of every single character being used in every single instance they could be used. And in my opinion, that's the only way you can really put down a definitive tier list. And I also bring in the community whenever we get to that point, and I feel like we're safe to do that. And you can drop, like, submissions for tier lists and stuff in my Discord. Speaking of that, y'all, if you want to join my Discord, feel free to check the link in the description. But just don't be sensitive because we like to have fun in there. Just drop in and drop a joke or a meme or something. And other than that, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.